Going into the 2020s, I thought Kawhi Leonard's career trajectory was only going to go up. I mean, he was fresh off a championship, one of the best playoff runs of all time by any player in NBA history, and easily his best season of his career. But now looking back 3 years later, I mean, his career is in a really weird spot. I mean, this season is the first time we're seeing Kawhi in action in damn near 2 years, and even in his return season, he's still missed 23 games. But to give him some credit, he has been playing well as of recently. The Clippers have been dealing with some injuries to John Wall and Paul George, so he's had to step up a little bit. And during this season, he's averaging 18.2 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, and 3.9 assists on 57.4% true shooting. Whether Kawhi Leonard is back to his superstar level of play is to be determined right now, but thinking back to the 2019 offseason when this team first formed, the amount of hype that this team generated, and the insane level of expectations we put on them, and wondering how poorly it all aged. And that's been the thing with the Clippers every single season, which has created a vicious cycle that I even made a chart for this. That's how bad this cycle is. The Clippers would add a bunch of pieces in the offseason, which results in a bunch of hype being generated for the team, which then creates expectations. And in the regular season, the team would barely play together, not building any type of team chemistry at all. But because of the amount of talent on this roster, everybody just assumes that they'll be fine, right? And then they go into the playoffs, and then they disappoint, rinse and repeat. And this has been a repeating cycle for the entirety of this Kawhi Leonard era. Some examples of some of the names that would be added to this Clippers team: the Marcus Morris trade in 2020, which sent Mo Harkless and some other stuff for Marcus Morris. The most recent signing, John Wall, in 2022. The Serge Ibaka signing in 2021. The Powell and Covington trade in 2022. Which, I mean, granted, it was the year where PG and Kawhi were out, but those two guys still contributed heavily to that team making the play-in tournament. And then signing Nick Batum and DeMarcus Cousins in 2021. And if we just look at some of these rosters, bro, the 2020 Clippers, where they had Kawhi and PG, a crazy amount of depth, with guys like Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, Zubac down low. They had Marcus Morris, who was like a off-the-bench kind of scorer for them. Reggie Jackson, who's an impactful piece. They still had Lou Will, who was getting buckets for them. And then some really good role players like Terrence Mann, Patrick Patterson, JaMychal Green, and Landry Shamet. And the reason why the 2020 Clippers depth is so important is because that was the main thing that people were saying as to why they were better than the Lakers that year. Even though both teams were deep as hell, everyone thought that the Clippers were more deeper and that their role players were more impactful. I mean, people didn't have this team making the finals for no reason. Like, they were really that good on paper. But in 2020, Kawhi only played 57 games, Paul George only played 48 games, and people downplayed how bad of an effect that this had on the team. Forcing your team to play this many games without you as a star player isn't a good sign, and people ignored it because everyone just thought that this team was going to win based off of their talent. And as we know, in that playoffs, Kawhi would have the worst game of his career, and I don't think his legacy still hasn't recovered from that. For reference, in that Game 7, Kawhi put up 14, 6, and 6 on 6 of 22 shooting from the field. And he was nowhere to be found in that fourth quarter, as the Nuggets just completely blew the game wide open. And blowing that 3-1 lead should be a huge stain on Kawhi's legacy, because realistically speaking, the Clippers had 3 opportunities to just close the deal, get the job done. They had double-digit leads in Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7, and they blew all 3 of them. There's a reason why we didn't take them seriously in 2021. In 2021, the Clippers had to earn back our respect. When we talk about choke jobs, why do we never bring this up? Like, yeah, we love to bring up the fact that Kawhi blew a 3-1 lead and how badly Paul George played that entire playoff run, but I don't see a whole lot of people criticizing Kawhi for how he played. And 2021 was another opportunity for them to win it. Despite nobody taking them seriously at that point, Kawhi once again had an amazing season, still didn't play enough games though. And in the playoffs that year, the Lakers got bounced out in the first round. The team that beat them last year just lost their star point guard, so it's literally just Jokic that they have to worry about. And the way it was looking, the Suns, the Jazz, and the Mavericks didn't look like they could really hang with this team. But honestly, it seems like the Clippers can never catch a break, because in that second round against Utah, Kawhi got injured and tore his ACL. And that brings us to where we are now. And even this season, the Clippers aren't even looking that good. They're one of the worst offensive teams in the league right now, and they're just kind of mid-tier this year. Defensively, they're at the top of the league as expected. They have the personnel, they have everything they would need. But the thing that gets me is how the Clippers have not surprised me at all. They haven't shown me anything different. I literally predicted this team down to the T because I knew if I were to have any level of faith in this team, they would disappoint me. And right now, they're just straight up average. They have an average record. They're average in the West. They're not doing anything outstanding. And this is a team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on it. And I predicted once again, like, they were not going to stay healthy. I don't know how people saw a roster with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and John Wall as your 3 best players and assume that they would play anywhere in the ballpark of 50 plus games. To even suggest that is insane to me. But enough about the Clippers. This is where we start getting into Kawhi's legacy. Because the sad truth is, Kawhi's longevity is not going to do him any service in any type of all-time conversations. While Kawhi has accomplished a lot, he has an extremely short peak. To pinpoint where Kawhi was at his absolute best, I would probably say 2017 through 2021. 2017 is where I feel like Kawhi finally broke out as a star player. He averaged 25 a game and was in the MVP conversation. I don't think he was ever going to win that MVP, but the fact that he was even able to put up an argument for it was really impressive. 2019 is where I would say he's at his peak. It's definitely his most consistent season, and it's definitely where he had the argument for being the best player in the league. Not to mention his crazy playoff run, up there for one of the hardest playoff runs in NBA history. I mean, the man went through Giannis, that Philly super team, and then played the greatest team of all time in the finals. And yes, I know injuries or whatever, but still, Kawhi was at his 100% peak in 2019, and you can't tell me otherwise. And 2020 and 2021 were good seasons from Kawhi, but the fact that his team came up short definitely puts a stain on those seasons, even though he was playing good basketball. And as mentioned before, this is going to hurt him in all-time conversations, because other greats that have played with Kawhi or have played against him in his era have had 5 to 10 years of dominance at the minimum. Look at a guy like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has been dominant for like the past decade, bro. Like, I can't pinpoint the exact point where Kevin Durant officially became a superstar, but he's been playing at a top 5 level for at least somewhere in the early 2010s. The same case goes for Giannis Antetokounmpo. As we speak right now, Giannis is at his peak, and he's been dominating ever since the 2017-18 season and still has a ton left in the tank. Steph Curry has had one of the best 4-year runs in NBA history, and he's been dominant for just a little bit longer than Kawhi has been, give or take like 2 or 3 more seasons. But the difference is that has resulted in championships and MVPs. But as you see the difference in how Kawhi has been dominating and then all these other greats, you'll see what I'm talking about. From 2017 to 2021, Kawhi averaged 26, 6, and 4 on 61% true shooting and was regarded as a top 5 player in the league at that time. The point I'm trying to make with this video is that Kawhi's career will most likely boil down to his peak. This season, Kawhi is turning 32 years old. He likely has 3 to 4 more years of star talent left until he eventually falls off, and that's if he even gets the chance to play most of the games. If he ever even gets to crack 50 plus games a season, and who even knows if he'll ever even make the finals with the Clippers. What if he decides to go somewhere else and build a championship core around there? Who even knows if he can ever find himself in those top 5, top 3 conversations ever again? And y'all might think I'm jumping the gun on Kawhi's career, but it's a very realistic possibility that we might have seen the last of peak Kawhi Leonard. I hope that's not the case though. I hope Kawhi ends up getting back to where he used to be, picking up where he left off. But it's just not going to be a good look seeing the Clippers, who gave up so much just to put this team together, end up not bringing a championship. And looking at the landscape of the NBA right now, especially the Western Conference, a Clippers championship in the next few years honestly looks really unlikely. I don't see it happening. But that'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button. If you like seeing videos like this and you want more of them, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to post more and more often. I'll have another video done and uploaded very soon. Also, let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if you agree with me, disagree with me. Leave all of that down in the comments below, and I'm out. Peace.